Keepcup, and they've been on sale for the last 2 years, and we estimate that our good customers have probably saved about 50,000 trees worth of disposable cups through their use of the Keepcup.
Fantastic. Coffee's a theme for two of our entrepreneurs tonight, so Will Young.
Hi, I'm Will Young from Campos Coffee. I'm the founder of Campos Coffee, and we love the Keepcup, of course. We began as a small shop in Newtown, serving about 50 coffees a day in 2002, and we've just dedicated ourselves to quality without compromise. And currently, we're the largest specialty coffee company in Australia.
Thank you, Will. Hayden.
Hi, I'm Hayden from Haydenshapes Surfboards and Fiberflex Surfboards. I started shaping surfboards when I was 15 down at Monavale, and about 3 years ago I designed a sort of method of manufacture called Fiberflex, where we use carbon fibre around the perimeter of the board to create a different flex pattern. And today we're just sort of rolling out a global sort of rollout of the product through 58 different countries, so got plenty of waves to go surf and have a lot of fun.
Hello, I'm David Handley. I'm the founder of Sculpture by the Sea. Sculpture by the Sea is a large free-to-the-public sculpture exhibition with over 100 sculptures from Bondi to Tamarama for 3 weeks each year, which attracts roughly 500,000 people. We now have a show, we've had for 7 years, a show on Cottesloe Beach in Perth in WA, and this weekend our second show in the city of Aarhus in Denmark is closing, so a lot of fun. Cheers.
Jaimie.
Hi, my name's Jaimie. I'm from a company called Skins. We are a sports technology innovating brand. Most of you will have seen sports people running around wearing black lycra or black tights. Chances are that's ours. We founded and created the category of compression garments that enhance circulation and improve performance.
Fantastic. Now, I'm in the lucky situation that I've actually read the book, and I've been given some scripted questions to ask the guys, which I'm about to ignore, and come up with some of my own questions. And you'll also have the opportunity as well, all going well, to actually ask some questions as well. So at the end of the session, we'll pass the microphones around if any of you have got some questions you'd like to ask the team. So there was one very interesting comment in Jaimie's section, and he's the only contributor to mention the ACCC, and I'd like to give you the opportunity to fully explain how you came on the wrong side of the competition watchdog.
Yeah, what a fabulous claim to fame. When we started out in business, for the first couple of years, the majority of revenue we had was from sales to elite athletes and sports people, here and also in the UK. So we were selling to people like Manchester United, Manchester City, Leeds United, Liverpool, the Wallabies, the Australian cricket team, and so on and so on and so on. So after we did that, what we did whilst we were selling to these elite guys is we were trying to generate distribution throughout Australia. And when I got to a certain point of, I think it was about 300 stores, we said, right, now we've got to build the brand. So we did an advertising campaign. And the campaign tagline was, we don't pay sports stars to wear our products, they pay us. And that ran in the middle of 2005, and that was a real kicker for us. The mistake I made was in 2006 running the campaign again. And in between 2005 and 2006, we converted some of those sales relationships into marketing contra agreements with, there were about 15 of those properties. So out of 200 odd sales, and sales to elite people in clubs, we converted 15 of those. So I was comfortable to run that campaign again because, hand on heart, we were still selling to the elite. But little did I realise that you just need one episode of having a sponsorship, and you're in default of the ACCC legal compliance.
And the key learning would be to make sure you've got appropriate legal representation and advice?
Yeah, and look, that's a really tricky thing, because when you start out in business, you can't go and spend all your money on lawyers and accountants and intellectual property consultants. And there's a real balance between how you juggle that, because let's face it, if you go and blow all your money protecting your IP and dealing with lawyers, and you haven't got any money to spend building your brand, well, you've just blown it. So it was a learning for me. I had no idea that it was as strict as it was. And particularly the way we responded to the ACCC when it came up was terrible. The advice I got from my lawyers was the worst advice I've ever had. They said, "Oh, fight it, fight it, fight it." And if I just, when they confronted us, if I'd said to them, "Shit, guys, I'm really sorry. Hands up. I apologise. This is how it happened. We'll publish an apology. We'll pay a $10,000 fine, whatever." Everything would have been cool. But no, we pushed.
There is a positive news to legal representation as well, so I'll hand over to Hayden. And one of the comments that you made in your contribution to the book was that you made one of the best phone calls of your life, and that happened to be to a lawyer, I believe.
Yeah, so I thought of the concept of Fiberflex and sort of mapped it out in my head how I was going to build it. I built a board for Tom Carroll, and we both went and surfed the board, and it went really, really good. So I sort of came back to the office and I was like, all right, maybe I should think about patenting this idea, because Simon Anderson, as we all know, didn't patent the 3-fin surfboard, so I was like, shit, I better get onto this one. And, I looked on Google and I researched with the Australian patents up here, Australia, and I filed a innovators patent, which is only sort of protects you in Australia. And then about 5 days later, I sort of got cold feet and I was like, yeah, I should call someone about this, check that I've done the right thing. So I ended up calling Spruson and Ferguson, a guy Lee Pippard, and gave him a call, and I found out that I had 1 day to go before I could file a standard Australian patent, of which then I could file an international patent on that. So I was pretty lucky I made the phone call, otherwise I would have been stuck with just a patent in Australia. So about 2 weeks ago I finally got my patent certificate in the mail from America, and it's been pretty good. And that's like 4 years later, so like I was saying before, yeah, your IP sort of gets you only so far, and then you sort of, it's all about the brand and sort of getting out there.
The other question I've got for you, I've got two actually, was you started surfing at the age of 4, and I was wondering, was it your passion for surfing that meant you ended up working or creating a business in the surfing industry, or you're a business-minded entrepreneur from the outset that chose a pastime that you enjoyed?
It's probably both of those things that got me to where I am now. I didn't want to go to school. I hated learning about things I don't want to learn about. So surfing I loved. So yeah, that was kind of natural to do that. And I needed a surfboard when I was 15, so I sort of worked out the cheapest way to get that, and that was to make it myself. So the passion of surfing gets me into the whole thing of making surfboards, but at the same time, the whole business side of things is quite challenging, and I find that good fun.
Fantastic. We'll move on to Abigail. So you've got a really interesting product that you were able to introduce to us earlier on, which is the concept of a reusable coffee cup. Now, bringing any product to market is a challenge, let alone bringing a product to market that requires human beings to change the way they behave, i.e. start adopting a reusable coffee cup rather than disposable. Can you share some of the challenges or the things that you had to think about to create a product that is going to change the way we all act?
Okay, I guess really critical to the idea and what was behind it was that we worked behind the coffee machine. So when people trundled in with their little ceramic mug or their giant thermos with a handle, we knew why baristas rolled their eyes, because they didn't fit under the group heads and various other things. When we went and saw the industrial designers, we knew we had to engage professionals, because we knew this product, if it worked, it would be global. My brother kept saying, it's got to be sexy, it's got to be sexy. And we debated a lot. At one point we were thinking maybe people could bring in a cup and it would be washed and then like sort of check pallets. But we thought that what would be really critical to the success of the product would be individual ownership, that it became a cup that you owned, that you could individualise with the colour and you could make it your own, and so you would be pleased to sort of carry it around. And that was one of the things. I mean, I was the worst offender for the Keepcup. I'd be in at work and I'd have one that was sort of unwashed on my desk and someone take pity on me and wash it. And I didn't really have much ownership of it. And then one day my daughter came into work and said, "Can I make you a Keepcup, Mum?" So I said, "Yeah, okay." So she went into the warehouse and sort of an hour later she came back with this little blue and brown number And I love it. And because she made it for me, I've got a connection to it and I carry it, and that's now the one I wash and I look after. And I think that's really what's been helped with the behaviour change, that people take ownership of the product and responsibility for it.
If my stats are correct, I think it's 800,000 Keepcups have been sold within 22 months.
That's correct.
Is there, what do you need to do to get the next 800,000?
Just keep doing what we're doing. I guess we keep telling our story. Our customers are really passionate about the cup, and I think the reason that the sales have been so successful is people love it and they tell people about it. They tell people on Twitter, they tell people on Facebook, they tell people word of mouth. They go into their cafe and the barista says, "What's that?" And they go, "Oh, it's this product's made in Victoria." Da, 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 da. And so that's if the story's good, it's going to work.
Yeah, agreed. And I think we've got another example of that with Will with Campos Coffee. And you're really passionate about your brand, and the brand is everything to you and your company. And from reading your contribution to the book, I was amazed and pleasantly surprised to see that you actively manage your customers and vet them on quality. And if they're not up to the task, you will actually take away their ability to sell your product. Is that, to me, as a salesperson, it seems like a sales inhibitor. But I'm wondering in the long term, is it actually a really good strategy? Because you get a really loyal base of customers and people using your product.
That's a good question. If we see our brand being hurt in the marketplace, particularly by certain cafes and such, we'll take that seriously and we'll remove it. And it was tough at the beginning, especially when you're in the beginning sections of growth. When it's not even growth, it's actually not growth at all. It's a big dip before the growth. A big hard dip that not many people make it through because they don't persevere as much. But once we got through that dip, it was all good. But yeah, a lot of it was finding which cafes worked well with us and which cafes didn't work well with us. And then, quitting those cafes that didn't work well with us. And, if they're going to hurt our brand, then we're just not going to work with them. We even did it for an 86 store franchise chain. We saw they weren't helping our brand at all. Even though the sales were fantastic, we just took it away, and our sales went down by 25-30% that month. And we just kept on powering through and only serving those who respected our brand. And as such, 9 years later, we got a very loyal following, and we also have trust of our customers as well, which is absolutely vital to what we're doing. Is the trust of our customers who are actually drinking the coffee, not our wholesale customers, but the actual drinkers, which are the most important customers we have by far.
So it seems like thinking with the end consumer in mind is the key to your business's success to date.
Oh yeah. That's the most vital person is the person who's actually putting the product into their mouth. It's no one else's means anything except for that one person.
Sure. David?
No one puts sculptures into their mouths. I hope.
Yeah, you never know. Sculptures by the Sea. So that's a very unique business compared to the other 4 stories that we've heard tonight. Can you tell us some of the challenges that you've found in bringing what is a fantastic event for the community and the art community and those amongst us who may not have the same appreciation for the arts as some? Can you tell us the challenges that you've had in actually fostering the support needed to make that event a success?
Well, I and those involved with the first show were really very lucky, and everyone who worked on the first show was a volunteer, including myself. Artists got right behind the show from minute one, the media got right behind the show from minute one, and the public did. On a $400 marketing budget, 25,000 people turned up, and I think every nightly news except for Channel 10 ran it on their evening news prime time. Then the next year, Andrea Stretton commissioned me to do 5 around Australia for the